Socrates, the old man who asked everything, what if the smartest person in the city was famous not for knowing answers, but for claiming he knew almost nothing, while everyone else confidently walked around carrying opinions like shiny trophies. That strange idea floated through ancient Athens like a mischievous breeze because people expected wise men to speak loudly and clearly, not scratch their beards and ask questions that made conversations wobble. Socrates was an old man with a funny face and stubborn curiosity, who wandered the streets like a friendly puzzle, stopping people who thought they were certain and gently poking holes in their certainty. Instead of teaching in a classroom or writing heavy books, he preferred open spaces and everyday chats where words bounced around like playground balls and ideas were chased, dropped, and picked up again. He would ask simple-sounding questions about things everyone thought they understood, such as goodness, fairness, bravery, or wisdom, while pretending he was just a confused old guy trying to learn. At first, people felt important when he asked them, because being questioned felt like being chosen, yet that feeling slowly shifted as answers began tripping over themselves. Whenever someone gave a confident explanation, Socrates would nod politely and ask another question, and then another, like pulling a loose thread to see what else might unravel. Children do this naturally when they ask why again and again, not because they want to be annoying, but because the world feels full of mystery that refuses to stay quiet. Socrates acted like the biggest curious kid in the city, except his playground was made of ideas instead of swings and slides. Some people laughed with him, enjoying the mental gymnastics and surprise discoveries because questioning felt like an adventure where no one knew the ending. Others grew annoyed because being asked too many questions felt like being told their thoughts were unfinished puzzles instead of completed pictures. The funny thing was that Socrates never claimed to be smarter than anyone else because he honestly believed his only advantage was knowing how much he did not know. That belief felt upside down since most people thought wisdom meant stacking answers higher and higher, not clearing space for more questions. Socrates seemed to think that answers could sometimes act like walls, while questions worked more like doors that invited you to step through. When he spoke to confident leaders or proud thinkers, the conversation often turned awkward because certainty began to wobble under gentle pressure. It was not shouting or arguing that unsettled people, but the calm way he kept asking, as if curiosity itself was refusing to leave the room. Imagine explaining why your favorite rule is fair, only to realize halfway through that you are no longer sure what fair even means. That sinking feeling is what many people felt after talking with Socrates because their thoughts suddenly felt heavier and less solid. Some thought he was helping the city think better, while others believed he was causing trouble by stirring confusion where calm certainty once lived. Both ideas lived side by side because Socrates could look like a wise guide or a dangerous questioner, depending on where you stood. To kids, he might resemble the classmate who keeps asking "but what if" questions, turning a simple game into a debate about rules and fairness. Those moments can feel annoying, yet they also reveal how rules are made, bent, and sometimes simply assumed without thinking. Socrates believed that living without examining ideas was like playing a game without understanding the rules, even if everyone else seemed to enjoy it. Yet he also knew that asking too many questions could make people uncomfortable, because comfort often rests on not looking too closely. The city eventually decided that his constant questioning was dangerous, because it shook beliefs that felt important, even if they were shaky underneath. Socrates accepted this calmly, still talking, still questioning, as if curiosity mattered more than safety or popularity. This choice confuses many readers because it looks brave and foolish at the same time, depending on how you measure wisdom. Was he a hero for standing by his questions, or was he stubbornly ignoring how much trouble curiosity can cause? That tension never fully disappears because questioning can build understanding while also breaking comfortable illusions. Kids might recognize this feeling when asking honest questions leads to awkward silence or annoyed sighs from adults. Socrates seemed to believe that confusion was not an enemy, but a sign that thinking was actually happening. He treated uncertainty like a starting line, not a failure, even though most people race desperately toward conclusions. When he said he knew nothing, he did not mean his mind was empty, but that it stayed open and unfinished. That idea feels strange because unfinished things often make us uneasy, like puzzles missing pieces or stories without endings. Yet unfinished thinking allows room for growth, surprise, and unexpected connections that closed answers rarely permit. Socrates never offered final lessons wrapped in neat bows because he trusted questions more than conclusions. Children listening to his story might wonder whether being smart means being right, or whether it sometimes means being curious enough to admit confusion. The old man's method still lingers today, sneaking into classrooms, conversations, and curious moments when someone dares to ask one more question. His life suggests that thinking is not about collecting answers like trophies, but about staying brave enough to keep asking. Yet the story refuses to settle comfortably because endless questioning can feel exciting or exhausting depending on the day. The tension remains, asking whether a world full of questions would be wiser or simply more confused. Perhaps Socrates would smile at that question because it means his habit of wondering is still alive. Instead of giving you the answer, the story nudges you to notice when you stop questioning and why. It leaves you standing in the middle of a thought, balancing curiosity and certainty, wondering which one deserves more trust. And somewhere nearby, the old man seems to whisper another question, just when you think you are finished thinking.